back. Hey, we went 6-6 tonight. Friday, December 9th in college basketball. Not a great night, but it is an improvement on where we've been. So, here we are lately. The computer started out, pretty decent. Got to 77% on the winning percentage. We won 17 and lost 5. And I'll go through what I call a win and a loss in a bit here. Then hung around 60% for a while, and things were looking great, and then boom, we just went downhill. So we turned in a 6-6 record. And my thoughts are, I'm just not worried about it. We're still early in the season. There's many teams. One team, Cal State Bakersfield's only played 3 games. Now, conversely, Coppin State has played 13. So, 13 is the most. So, that's a little less than half the season. But if you think about, here we are mid-December, this thing doesn't wrap up until April. Man, we got a ton of time. More data, more accurate is how I look at it. And on that theme, as we look at these games, this one got me at the very end. Furman somehow got an additional point and just took me right over the line there. We had App State, and Furman actually got to 8 points and covered our 7.5. But I'm noticing these. So this is a computer prediction, and this is the actual final. And I'm noticing that these things are getting closer and closer and closer. Now, this is a bad example, but these things are getting closer and closer, and that's just showing me signs that the computer's getting a little bit more accurate as we go. So that was a heartbreaker. We had another, half a point swings it as a win. Half a point, is all I won by. So I guess that kind of cancels each other out. This was a drubbing. Tennessee State, IUPUI. I just don't think you can trust them. They're never going to come back from a deficit. It's there's some schools that just like to gravy train on and get those paychecks. I'm not saying anything, but I am looking at you, IUPUI. 1.5 got us. 1.5 got us. We got this one by 1.5, but it's such a thin line. Half a point got us. It's such a thin line. Here it is again. Between winning and losing in these things. 6-6 could have easily been, 8-4 or 9-3. Just whisker thin margins. So down below here, we're doing the science experiment. This is night 2 of it. Now, what we're doing, and I said I would explain this. So the computer runs a prediction, and here it is. Before the games tip off, and even before I look at the line, the computer runs a prediction. And the prediction said Furman 75, App State 69. Let me back up a little bit. The computer said 72, Furman 72, App State 69. And this is what we went with. The computer generated predictions this is how we've been doing this contest, is what I'm going to refer to as a traditional style. But my science experiment, I'm adding 3 points to the home team. So computer ran at 72, 69. We add 3 points to the home team. And we're trying to flip picks, and we weren't able to. I think we flipped one pick, from up here when we did the 3-point. I think we flipped one game, and we must have flipped 2 because we went 5 no, we flipped 1. We went 6-6 up here, the traditional method, and then went 5-7 in our science experiment. Now, last night, 2 games swung towards us, and now tonight, really light action, 12 games. One night, one game swings against us, so it tells me absolutely nothing. So tomorrow on Saturday, there's going to be 90-plus games, and we're going to do this experiment again, and because that'll be a bigger data set in which to compare. And so we'll look at that tomorrow, and hopefully there'll be clearly defined numbers like, yes, give the home team 3 points, or no, the traditional way is working better. We'll find out tomorrow. And then it becomes a matter of, is 3 points enough? Should it be more? Is it just right, or is it too much? Some places get 3 points. Let's say you're Duke and you got that home court advantage. Is that worth 3 points? I say it's probably worth closer to, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 points. But not everyone has that. So I need to apply something that kind of sweeps the whole, every team. So, there's some teams that just don't have much of a home court presence, with their fan base. They don't, there's 358 schools here. Not every school plays to 25,000 seat arenas, filled with cheering people. There's a ton that they would look like high school gyms, So, the only home court advantage they got is the other team's tired from the travel. So how do you pinpoint the home court advantage? That's our little science experiment. We're starting at 3 points. We're just going to see how it plays out. So I got a lot of games set up for tomorrow. We're playing them all. There's 90 plus. I ran all the predictions so far, and I'm going to do something I don't normally do. What you need to know is this is the I can't share the computer, if you will, because it's really just an Excel spreadsheet. But every time I do, it locks it up, and I have to reboot it. And it bothers me to do that because, man, I got a lot of data on there, and I'd hate to roast it, just by sharing of it. Something about sharing my screen here just really doesn't work well with Excel. But I'm going to do it here. Let me make sure I'm at where. Okay, yeah, we're good. So let me share this screen. It's going to take me just a second here. So stop the share, and then start a new share. And let's do this. Windows. Okay. So what you're looking at here, hopefully, yeah, that's the real spreadsheet. Now look in the bottom. See all these tabs? This is half of it. All the teams are broken down in conferences. And if I felt daring it, let's talk about this first, and then I'll click on one of these tabs because it'll freeze up. But this is what we're looking like here. Now I haven't even looked at the lines yet. I've ran the computer predictions, but I haven't looked at the line. And I'm going to copy and paste this down below, and I'm going to do the 3-point adder down below. But we're scoring it based on this. This is our contest, the traditional way, if you will. So let's see if we can, how far we can. It'll let me get away with this. So this is, I'm just going to pick a conference. I'm going to go with Missouri Valley. Let me pop back out and see if that. Okay, so it did work. Okay, so this is the Missouri Valley, and this is the computer. And every team has these profiles. So let's just pick a team. Let's pick Indiana State. Here's all their games, the dates, their opponent, the final scores, wins and losses. And we're going to do this on every single team. Everybody gets the same exact profile. There's no advantages built into it. Now, I'm going to take you down to the nerve center here. See, this is how much of the season we have left to play. We're still pretty early. I think it's pretty obvious. We're still pretty early. I got all this data. Every one of those boxes is going to get filled in. So we got a ton of data to fill in. Okay, so down here, this is the star of the show is, and I call it the overall power rating, the OPR. Now, how we get that is we take points allowed. This is cumulative. This is, for the season. So Indiana State on the season has scored 574 points and allowed 625. If we divide points allowed by 0.4, we get this little number over here. Now, if you've scored more points than you've allowed, let's look at Loyola of Chicago. That number is going to be under 1.0. If you've allowed more points than you scored, like Indiana State has, it's going to be above 1.0. Okay. So you see this column here. It's labeled SOS, strength of schedule. So every team has this OPR, and when Indiana State plays Loyola of Chicago, that OPR is going to get slotted into this column here. And we add them all up and we divide them by the number of games played. I got a little counter here. Well, I could do the math there too, but I got a little counter here just to back me up. Now that gets us our strength of schedule. Okay. If you multiply, so that tells you the level of competition you're playing. If you multiply this defense divided by offense times strength of schedule, you're going to get the overall power rating. Okay. So if you think about it in terms of Indiana State so far has failed to meet the level of competition, and the OPR tells us by how much. Loyola Chicago has met and exceeded the level of competition. So this number is going to be lower than that because we're going to multiply 0.8 times 8.85, and it's going to give us 7.07. Okay. That is the basis of how the computer works, and apply that to every single school. And as we grab, I'm going to show you exactly what I do. I just go and I grab Loyola Chicago, and I just put it right there. And then when I update the count, watch this number here. Dips down. Now they played 9 games, and this is who they played, but their scores haven't changed. Let's say it was 75 to 83. Boom, changes again, but it affects every other team. So every team, let me erase this before I forget about it. So every other team, and everything's back to normal again. So Ball State, if I go to Ball State, which I'm frightened to do, but I'll do it. I hope this thing allows me. I go to Ball State. I'm moving gingerly here. There's our game against Indiana State. Okay. So Ball State won, I guess I should show them here. Ball State won 97-75. We go back to that Indiana State profile. It's in reverse. Indiana State lost that game 75 to 97. Okay. So I've taken the Indiana State's OPR and I've slotted it in here. Now, every time we enter another final, all these numbers change, okay? Because it affects every other team that you've played, and it affects every other team that they've played, and that affects every other team that they've played, and so on. So everything is connected. So every final is meaningful throughout the entire land of Division I college basketball. So that is a very basic introduction to how the computer works. So let me get back here, and I don't want to corrupt my spreadsheet. I can't share it. I can't share my spreadsheet. So, because it will definitely. I don't know what it does. It corrupts it, and I got to go kill it and reboot it. I got a lot of information on there, so I don't want to do too much of that. Okay. So remember those OPRs. So the lowest OPR is always going to be the best. And remember, we communicate, everything affects everything else in here. And right now, early in the season, this is our rankings, because you can do rankings with this. So LSU number 1, Arizona number 2, Houston number 3, Baylor, Purdue, Alabama. By the way, Arizona plays Alabama. Is that right? Do I have that right? Tomorrow? No, it doesn't sound right. I think. Oh no, Houston and Alabama play tomorrow on Saturday. So that'll be a really great game to watch. Some pretty good matchups tomorrow. And I rank all 358 teams because I've got all their info now. I can rank them all. I can tell you the worst team in NCAA basketball. I can tell you the second to worst team, then the third to worst team. There's our IUPUI. This is down at the bottom. These are high numbers, and these are the lower numbers. So that's how the rankings work. Now, is it accurate? Well, it's been accurate for many years. I've done this for many years, and when we play everything out, I'm always up here. I'm not saying LSU is going to be our national champs, but throughout the whole season, we play it all out. Man, it's going to be one of either number one, number two, number three. I mean, worst case scenario, number five on the Scores Our poll will end up getting the national championship. Now, one year Butler fooled me. The year that Butler lost in the national championship game, they weren't as high as I would have liked them to be for someone to be playing in that game. And I didn't do this last year, so I don't know about how Baylor looked in comparison to Gonzaga. So, but I've done it every other year for the past 12 or 13 years prior to that. And I've just kept the information myself. But now I got a little YouTube channel, so I want to share this information. Before we get out of here, this is the computer picks, and I'll show you another night how that happens. And we've been, we've been pretty cold lately. Nothing to really, get too excited about. These are awful, awful numbers. But we're still ahead on the season, 200 wins to 169 losses for 54.2 winning percentage, which that's going to get better. And oh, by the way, we've hit 14 money line plays, which is really cool. Hopefully tomorrow with so many games, there'll be some money line opportunities, and we can look at those as well. So I'm going to go back and add the lines now to all the game predictions and start making the picks. I'm going to do that and have that. I'll put that out later tonight, and then tomorrow I'll probably live stream a little bit during the games as they go final, just to get a little taste of how the computer's doing, and then at the end of the night we'll do a wrap up of all. We won't go through every game, but we'll do a wrap up on how well the computer performed. So that's it, and we'll see you on the